The Jewish Story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Neighbors, The Destruction of the Jewish Community in Jedwabne, Poland, written by Jan Gross. One of the premier authors of modern Hebrew literature, Aharon Appelfeld, returned in 1996 to his native village near Czernovitz, where he had spent the first 8.5 years of his life until June 1941. What does a child of 8.5 remember? Almost nothing. But miraculously, that almost nothing has nourished me for years. Not a day passes when I'm not at home. In my adopted country of Israel, I have written 30 books that draw directly or indirectly upon the village of my childhood, whose name is found only on ordnance maps. That almost nothing is the well from which I draw, and it seems that there is no end to its waters. And so when he returned 50 years later, the beauty and odd familiarity of the landscape once again evoked a sense of well-being and careless joy. Who could imagine that in this village on a Saturday, our Sabbath, 62 souls, most of them women and children, would fall prey to pitchforks and kitchen knives, and I, because I was in a back room, would manage to escape to the cornfields and hide. Appelfeld had come to the village with his wife and a film crew that was recording his return to the native village. A group of local people gathered to look the strangers over. When Appelfeld asked about the burial site of the Jews who were murdered during the war, it seemed that no one could give him an answer. But after a time it emerged that he had lived there as a child, and then someone who had gone to school with him recognized him. Eventually a tall peasant came up, and, as if in an old ceremony, the village people explained to him what I wanted to know. He raised his arm and pointed. It was over there on a hill. There was silence, then an outpouring of speech which I could not understand. Appelfeld continues, It turned out that what the people of the village had tried to conceal from me was well known, even to the children. I asked several little children who were standing near the fence and looking at us, where the Jews' graves were. Right away they raised their hands and pointed, and they all went toward that hill, not speaking much along the way, until finally one of them said, Here is the grave. He pointed at an uncultivated field. Are you sure? I asked. I buried them, the peasant replied. He added, I was 16. Please pass on this story.